Okay, so in today's webinar, we'll be discussing sending documents and digital signatures. If you have any questions, please can you just wait until the end of the webinar to ask them. There is a Q&A bit if you hover over your Zoom screen to ask any questions, but they will be answered most likely during the webinar. And if you do have any particular questions relating to your account, please do jump on Intercom or our live chat, sorry, so you can actually talk to us about your account or any other issues that you're having, so we can solve them. Okay. So in today's agenda, we'll be discussing documents, where to find those documents, what features of documents we have, and 3 ways you can send documents in your Arthur account. You can share with, attach them, or send them via email. And then the second part of the webinar, we'll be discussing digital signatures, which is a big part of Arthur, where to find envelopes, our integration to Signable, how does mail merges and digital signature variables work, how to send the individual documents for signature, and then also attaching files, editing the signable email ready for sending, and how to track the document in Arthur and viewing the signed document at the very end. Okay, like I said, we'll be going through a lot of content, so just save your questions at the end. We'll do a Q&A if I didn't go through any content that you wish to ask. So in terms of documents, documents can be found at each level of the hierarchy, okay? So if you go into your properties, your units or your tenancies, there will be a section called documents within that hierarchy. And then we also have a whole section called documents where you can upload a document and actually enter the relationship where that document will lie. Either of those is absolutely fine. You can upload it to the hierarchy, or you can upload it to the main document section in Arthur. And there's loads of features in documents that we'll be showing in a minute. You can, create the relationship, you can remove a document, you can batch update those, and then also add your own document type preferences, which might not be on the list that we give in Arthur in terms of the document types we have. So just going to share my screen. So hopefully everyone can see my Arthur account. So in terms of documents, just a quick functionality recap of what I just mentioned. Like I said, each hierarchy level will have documents within those records. So for example, you have your properties, your units, and then your tenancies, and also other kind of sections will also have documents in them. So if you click within the row of the property and you go down to documents, you can upload that document and it will automatically relate that document to the level that you're uploading that to. And then you also have the option to actually upload that document to the whole of Arthur. And when you do upload the file, you only need to upload that file once, okay? So for example, if you have a file that you want to actually attach it to several different places, an example would be like a welcome pack or something like that, you can only upload that once. You don't have to keep uploading that document because you can attach the file in several different places. So for example, if I just quickly select a file from my computer, it will ask me to, basically choose a document type, which I will show you in a moment how you can add your own. Upload the file, and then it will ask me to attach to a specific place. Okay, so for example, if this is going into one of the units in my portfolio, I can find which one that it relates to. But if it's also going within the tenancy as well, and I want it to reside in the tenancy in documents, you can also attach it there. Okay, and that's when it says attach documents, and it will just upload that one time. Other functionality includes batch updating them. So for example, if you see these little check boxes on the side, you can click on those. And if you click update documents, it will give you a batch update function just to change the document type. If you wish to do that, you can do that on the side. And then any other functionality within Arthur is usually the drop down arrow on the side here. So for example, if you click the drop down arrow, you can edit the file. If you wish, you can delete the file. Please bear in mind, if you do delete it, it is a hard delete. It will completely be gone from your Arthur account. It's not the same as archive, which you might have seen in an option in other places. So yeah, you can edit the file and then also change that relationship if you wish to do so. For example, replacing the existing file and then reattaching to a different place. So for example, if you wanted to attach that document actually somewhere else, you can just click the little checkbox on the side, click attach to, and then you can take away some relationships and then re-add new relationships if you wish to do so at any point in time. So the next thing we're going to be discussing is, if I just resume my screen, is how you can send your documents. So sending your documents, you can do this in 3 different ways. The first one, which a lot of people do actually get confused by because we do have the apps, is called the share with function. So this is app to app. Okay, so every time you see share with on your Arthur account, you need to understand that via your Arthur to someone else's Arthur. Okay, and we do have the tenant app, we have a property owner app, and a contractor app as well. So anytime you see that share with, which we'll be going over, you can associate that that's going to be sharing with the other person's app if they've been invited, and if they download and obviously are a user on the app, they can access any documents that you share with them in that, basically in that app. So sending via email is another way as well. So sending via email is pretty easy. Any recipients that you have on your Arthur, you can send that document to them via email. You need to obviously make sure they've got their email address on Arthur beforehand, so it can go directly to their email. They can't reply to that email. It is one way. So if you do attach anything via that function, it is just one way. You're just basically sending a document to them with a little note in the email for them to read. Attaching a document, so you can use our messages function to actually attach a document and send something that way. So right now we're just going to show how you can do those 3 things in Arthur. So the first way that we discussed was the share with function. So the share with function is actually relating to the hierarchy, which some people, again, like you might not even know this, but the share with function, depending on where you share that document with, it will share with the tenants or, you know, the property owners within that hierarchy. So if we start at the property level and we just go into a property, we go to documents on the side. So for example, for this one, let's say I want to share with this document with the people at the property level. Say you have multiple units, say it's 3 units, not 1. You have to bear in mind, this is going to share with all the tenants in the property. So if you use the share with function here, using the drop down arrow next to the row, and it will show you all unit tenants, just bear in mind, it's going to be all the tenants residing in those units under property. Okay, so it will share with basically everyone, all the tenants within that property. And then if you go to the units section, so say, you know, your portfolio is rooms, flats, individual, you know, single let houses, anything really. So for example, this one, room 1, if we go into this unit directly and we go to documents, say I wanted to share this with the tenants, it will only share with the unit tenants residing in that unit. So just bear in mind where you're doing that. And that's the same with tenancies as well. If you go to the tenancy section, we'll just do one for an example. And go into a tenancy. It will share with, if you do use that share with function, with all the tenants in that tenancy. So just bear in mind, if you're using the share with function and your tenants are using the app, or the owners are using the app, when you do share with anything, you're just understanding where you are in Arthur, okay? The other function which you need to be aware about is if you go to your documents and you click share with all tenants. So say, for example, I want to share with all the tenants in documents, it's actually going to share with your whole account, every single tenant that is in your Arthur account. It will give you a little warning, but just to be aware of that you have the hierarchical share with, and then you also have sharing with all the tenants in your whole Arthur in documents. So that's the first way. Sending via email. So again, please do have those email addresses in Arthur. They're quite important. A lot of functionality relates to email sending. So for example, if I wanted to send via email this document, and you can do the same thing in the hierarchy as well. You don't have to do it in the document section. If you just click send via email, you can also find that button on the drop down arrow as well. You can send to a recipient. So if I wanted to send it to a particular person, you can just, find them. And it might just give you this no email entered, for example, if their email's not there, and that will be good. So you can go back into their profile and add their email. And you can write a little note saying, hello, Sarah, please look at this document or something like that. Okay. And yeah, so you can replace the entire body of the email with notes as well. So if you want the whole email body to just be your notes that you're saying, you can share that as well. Okay, and that is one way. The minute you do that, that should go to your email and SMS history. So if you click your company logo, and you go to the email and SMS history on the side here, whenever you send that, that should be basically the first one on your email and SMS history, so you can see that directly, okay? And the last way is attaching a document through messages. So when you attach a document through messages, it's a great way to send to anyone, really. They don't have to use the apps. Because you have a function called send via email that they can get this document. So for example, if you go to your messages function, you can create a group message or individual message, find the recipient that you want to send a message to, put a subject in, put any message in, and you'll see at the bottom, you can attach your files here. So there's a little attach button over here, and you can choose an existing document within your Arthur, or you can upload a new file directly from your computer. If you do this, and for example, this person does not use the Arthur apps, just make sure send email is ticked. That means they will get an email with, your message and an attachment of the document that you sent, and they can also reply back, and it will come back in a chat form in messages. Okay, so that's another way. If they do have the apps, you can still click send email, but it will then just literally feed directly into their app as well. When you send them a message with an attachment, that document will go to their document section in their apps. Okay, so that is the 3 ways you can basically send documents. If we just go back now. So the next thing we're going to actually be discussing, which is probably our biggest feature to discuss in this webinar today, is the digital signatures. Okay, so for anyone that doesn't know, Arthur has a integration to Signable, and our integration is held by us, and you can buy envelopes, which are basically top-up credits. And an envelope is basically an electronic package that you can send to your recipients, attaching multiple files with multiple signature fields in for signing. Okay, and we'll show you how to buy those and how those work. So yeah, so digital signatures are a type of electronic signature. It allows people to electronically put in a signature, and then when that document is signed and ready to come back into Arthur, it will feed directly back into Arthur. Your documents can be sent out, like, for example, tenancy agreements, contracts, letters, anything that you would need, even PDFs of certificates. If you want to add a signature box in those, you can do those as well. Arthur allows you to track the statuses of documents and who is still yet to sign, which is really good. And it also has a live feed from Signable with an activity log, so you can see exactly what's going on. And then once the document is fully signed, it can come back into your Arthur and show you, what that document looks like. So like I said, we hold the integration for Signable. You can set up loads of ways to, pay for these, which we'll show you in a minute. And yeah, the envelopes are a digital package and you can send multiple documents at one time. Some clients might think that the price is per signature. It is not, it is per envelope, and just see that envelope as multiple things that you can pack in there to send at one moment in time. Credits don't expire as well. So if you do buy them and you don't use them for a while, they won't expire. You can keep them on your account. Email addresses that need to be inputted in Arthur of the recipients before you send those. So just make sure you've got the correct email addresses. We do get a lot of queries regarding changing email addresses, in case, it's a wrong email. So just make sure you've got the correct email of the recipients that you're going to be sending those to. However, if you don't, you can always contact us on the live chat so we can help you find that document and change that email if it's already sent. So now we're just going to go over a couple of things in terms of how to buy envelopes and to start that process off in Arthur. So to go to the envelope section to buy things in Arthur, you need to go to the Arthur store. Once you go to the Arthur store, you will see lots of things on the side. The main thing you need to go to is digital signature. And you can see digital signatures with Signable. Might give you a little blurb, and you can also call them if you need to, but you wouldn't really need to. You can contact us directly. So over here, you can see your envelopes and how much they cost. They are £1.75 plus VAT, so it'll be £2.10 altogether in your billing. And usually it's cheaper to buy envelopes in bulk instead of kind of doing them as you go, but you can have an auto top-up setting as well, and that will charge your Go card list that you pay your monthly subscription to Arthur. Envelopes, like I said, you can also see your credit history if you're not too sure what's been bought, etc. If you haven't bought them in batch and you just continue on to the documents and you just send it like that, it will still charge you. Okay, so you don't need credits beforehand to use the function, but just be aware that if you do actually send anything, it will charge you. So that's how you can purchase credits and how you can deal with that in Arthur. The second thing is that your email addresses for whoever you're sending to needs to be correct. So usually it's tenants and anything like that. So if it's within a tenancy, just double check that you've got your email addresses that's within Arthur correct, so you can do those. So now we're just going to go over actually the digital signature function. There is one thing in terms of actually digital signatures. So one thing is using a mail merge for digital signature. Some of you might not know this function, some of you might do. We're not going to go into detail regarding the mail merge function. However, we are going to discuss the variables that you can add in your document. Okay, so Arthur has a function to send out templates in your Arthur account. You can have multiple templates in your Arthur, which is what we call mail merge. And a mail merge is basically pulling information from your Arthur account automatically from the record that you filled it in. Okay, and we also have a digital signature section where you can actually upload a template in with these signature variables ready to use, so you don't need to keep amending that template or changing it. It's ready for you to use. So there are two different ways you can basically send a signature, document. The first way is when an individual needs to sign this document. So that means it's one person that needs to sign that document. It might be multiple places that they need to sign. That's absolutely fine. Or it might just be, the one signature at the bottom of that document. So if that is the case, you would need to use this type of signature field variable, which we'll go over in a minute in Arthur. And the second type is a group. So for example, when you have multiple people signing one document, you'll have landlords, tenants, which is usually in a contract, and then also yourselves. You would need to use the group method, which are these variables. So if we just show you Arthur so we can actually see this in the system. So to find your mail merges, you might already have them, you might not know what this function is. So if you're not too sure what a mail merge is, there are loads of videos on our YouTube page where you can have a look at mail merging and actually setting up your templates. And then this is the digital signature part, so you can understand how you can add those variables in your templates ready to sign. So if you go to Documents and you go to Mail Merge Templates, these are usually your templates that are, uploaded already, or you might be continuing to actually make your mail merge template as, as we speak right now, or that's kind of what you're planning to do. So to find your variables for digital signature, they are usually on the side over here. And if you, usually it is a contract, usually documents for signing usually go through the tenancy level. So this is why I'm using that example. It's not necessarily just because, but if we go to the view variable section and we go to digital signature, these are where those variables that I showed you on the slide are. And all you have to do when your template is basically ready, you've got all those other variables in there. You've copied those and you've put them in your Word document. You might be at the end of your document and you need to put your signature variables in. You'll need to copy these, okay, and put them into your document. So bear in mind the individual or group variables. So if that template is only going to be signed by particularly one person, one recipient, you can use these. So the signature, the signable signature field, you can use these at the top. However, that is very unlikely. It's usually a group that needs to sign that document, and it usually goes in a particular order. Okay, so that particular order is defined by the numbers, which you can see here on the side. So for example, you have an AST and your tenants sign first and you are the second people to sign that document, or maybe the landlord is the second person to sign that document and you're the third. So if we have an example where you have two tenants, so that means signer 1 will be tenant 1 in that tenancy, signer 2 will be tenant 2 in that tenancy, and then the third person might be the landlord, for example. And you need to make sure that this variable is next to the correct person that needs to sign in a particular order, because Signable will then send that in a particular order. It will go to the tenant 1. Once they signed, it will then send to tenant 2. Once they sign, it will then send to tenant 3. Okay, and these numbers are not fixed, so it doesn't just go up to 3. If you just change this variable number to 4, 5, 6, you can still use them. They still do work. Okay, so for example, if you've got 3 tenants, that means signer 1 is going to be tenant 1, signer 2 will be tenant 2, signer 3 will be tenant 3, and then you actually have, the landlord to sign as number 4. You can just change that number to 4 and it will still work. Okay, so these variables need to basically be in your template. So to do this, we can actually do one together that I've got over here as a Word document. So this is a tenancy agreement. Okay, and you can add those other variables, mail merging that document, just copying and pasting those other variables if you need to. But when it comes to the signature bit, this is when you need to make sure you're getting this bit correctly. So for example, we know this template, I'm going to make this template for only tenants that are, 2 tenants within a tenancy. Okay, and we'll discuss that in a minute. When you've got various different numbers of tenants in a tenancy, what can you do to make your templates easier to use so you don't have to keep editing that one template? So for example, we want the landlord to actually sign first in this AST example. So if we just get that Word document up, all you have to do is paste that over here under the landlord signature, and then the second and third person are actually going to be the tenants. So we might just do tenant 2 and then tenant 3, and then you can just change that number if you wish. Okay, so let me just make this a little bit neater. Cool. So for example, it will be something like this, where you have your tenants signing. So it might be, even if we might be, tenants signature. Okay. You might even not want lines, because usually signable adds a line, so it doesn't really matter, what it looks like. You can just do it this way. Oops. Something like that. Okay, so once you've got your signature variables in that document at the end, and it will look something like that, you can obviously amend how it looks at the end of your document. You're ready to basically upload that template onto Arthur. So what you do, once you're happy with your template, you can save this document onto your computer. And once you've saved that document, all you have to do is upload that document onto Mail Merge Templates. You can label it if you like. So for example, this one is for 2 tenants. So we're going to label it tenant 2 AST. So you know it's for 2 tenants. Choose the file from your computer. I think it's this one. There we go. And upload that. Okay. So when you have multiple tenants, you see I labeled it tenant 2. It will be good for you to actually add the same document but change the variable fields for the number of signers. So you've got, basically all the options there. So for example, if your tenancies go up to, 4 signers of tenants, you might want an AST version of your template that only has the signature fields that are, applicable to 1 tenant. If it's then 2, then you have another mail merge template that is for 2. And then if it's 3, then you have another one that is 3. So basically you can add different variable fields for your signatures and re-upload that template and just label it how many tenants sign that. So when you're ready to mail merge, you don't need to basically edit the same template. You've got all the different types ready to go with your signature fields. And the way you can do that is if you go to your tenancies, and this is when you've got a mail merge template, and we'll discuss afterwards, when you actually don't have a mail merge template, how you can send for signing. So if you go to documents and you go to mail merge, you'll need to basically, label your document name. It doesn't really matter what it is. Have a document type, and then find that template. So you can see that depending on your tenancy, you've got the different levels of signers ready to go. So you don't need to keep, worrying about the signature field. So for this one, for example, I know, it's an AST agreement and it's for one tenant, and this is for one tenant. And if we continue, just continue, create the digital signature field. It will ask you, let me just go back actually. Let's do this one. So this screen, it will just ask you to create the digital signature. If you just leave that checked and create the document, when you have the variables in there, you'll actually get this option. Okay, signer 1, signer 2, signer 3, and that will correspond to the signature fields that you put at the bottom and who is signing at what stage. So this is the bit where people sometimes choose the wrong person. So just be aware who is signer 1. So your signer 1 in this document is the landlord. So when you click the drop down, you need to make sure, obviously, you're going to pick the property owner email for that signer 1, so it corresponds to them. And then your second signers for this document is obviously, your tenants. So you can pick the tenants as those. So Signable will actually send that document first to signer 1, which is the landlord. Once they sign, it will go to signer 2. Once they sign, it will go to signer 3. Okay. And if you continue on the next button, you can actually attach files to this document. So this is why it's called an envelope, because you can attach as many files as you wish. And those files, you can find either what's uploaded within that record. So these are all the files that are actually already uploaded to that tenancy tab. Or if you click show all documents, it will show you all the documents that are in your document section, and you can pick the files that can be attached to send along the way. So if you have another document that needs to be signed as well, and you actually do want to use those variable fields to, particularly to match who is signer 1, who is signer 2, and who is signer 3, you just need to make sure the merged document lies within that tenancy. So you just mail merge that field so it's ready to go. So for example, I'm going to use this one, and the signature fields within this document is the same as what we've just done before. Okay. And you can attach PDFs as well. You can attach absolutely anything that you wish to do so, but it just needs to be in the right format. So it will tell you at the bottom over here what format this needs to be in. So it will be docx, a CSV file, from Excel, PDF, and that's are the ones that are allowed. Some people do ask if they can actually have images. It should be in a Word document if it is an image, otherwise it can't actually attach, because Signable have given us these documents to basically have for attachment. So when you add the two selected, the last bit will be actually to customize the email, which you can do. We do hold the integration to Signable. So the logo, unfortunately, cannot be changed. It will be the Arthur logo. However, you can change, what's written in that email when it gets sent out. So if you we have a question from Gemma. Does the AST have to be in Word doc? I have a Mac, so I work in Pages. Would a PDF work for that document? So Gemma, when you do your mail merge templates, if you're using it that way, you can have it. It has to be a Word document when you're using mail merge templates. However, if you want to attach other documents, you can attach them as PDFs. Though, if you do want to send a document and you just want to send it for signature, nothing to do with mail merging at all, you can have PDFs as well. Okay, so if you're using the mail merge templates, it has to be Word, because those templates have to be in Word, because Signable actually converts them to PDF after. However, if you want to send a PDF for signing, you can just do that separately, which I can show you in a moment. Okay. Okay, cool. So yeah, so this email you can literally change. You can, add anything that you wish to add. The only thing that can't change is the logo. Just bear that in mind. So the next stage will be confirming your digital signature. So it's really just following the stages of each page. And when you get to this page, this is a final page and it will charge you. Okay. If you don't have credits, it will still charge you. So just bear that in mind. You don't have to buy the credits beforehand. The bulk credit buying is just cheaper, rather than pay as you go. So for example, it will give you the recipients, and then it will also give you the attachments of what's attached to that main mail merge template. And just bear in mind, because you're using the main mail merge template to send, you won't actually see that. You'll only see the attachments. Okay, some people have questions regarding why I can't see, the main document. They get a bit confused, but it is still there. And then when you confirm and send, it will look like this. It will look like this. And what happens, it basically, the next thing where it goes is it will go actually to your digital signature tab over here. And that will be basically the first one that you've sent recently. You can see the date and time submitted. But before we go over that, that was just one way you can send documents for signature. Okay. The second way is actually, let me just share the screen for a second. So the second way is using the box method. So for example, Gemma asked about, Word documents and stuff like that. You can actually send documents to sign. So if you don't need to use the mail merge template at all, you don't need to worry about that. You can just send a normal document to sign, and attach any other documents if you wish to do so. So for the box method, when you upload a document and you want to send for signature, it will ask you to basically add a box, and you can select who the signers are at that stage, which is what we're going to go over now. And you can easily send a PDF or any other document to sign and attach any other files along with that if you don't need to merge the document. So for example, certificates, any PDFs, any letters that are already written before, you can just add those signature boxes, in those documents. And this is where the individual or group comes in as well, making sure you understand if it is multiple people that you're going to send that document to, you need to make sure you click group. If it's just one individual that needs to sign that document, you can click individual. And then you can obviously attach those different files if you wish, and edit the email if you wish to do that as well. Okay, so now we're just going to do the box method so you can see what that looks like in Arthur. So here is a tenancy, and I just uploaded a PDF, for example, that needs signing. Okay, that's where I'm at the moment. I don't need to mail merge that Word template. It's not a contract. It's nothing like that. That would be easier to use a mail merge for. This is just a document that I need signing, might be a certificate or anything like that. So if you click next to the document that you need, or you don't even need to do that, if you just click digital signature, directly there will be that digital signature button in the record that you need to sign. It will ask you to basically pick, which of your documents within that record that you want to send a signature for. So for this case, we're just going to click this PDF. And now you'll see that it will ask you to select the type of digital signature that you need, okay? So bear in mind, individually, it's each recipient will receive their own document to sign independently. It's not going to be the group method, for example, where it basically tells that person to sign here, the particular person to sign there, and it goes in that order. So just bear in mind, if it's more than one person, please use group. And if it's different people, please use group. If it's the same person that needs to sign several different places in the same document, you can use individual. Okay, so just make sure you're clicking the correct version depending on who's signing that document. Most likely it's going to be group, is rarely individual, so a lot of people don't usually use that option. So if it's a group, say it's for PDF, that's fine. You can literally add a box anywhere really, and you can see how big that box is. Some people, when they use Word or use a different file, PDFs are usually, they don't really change the format too much, but when it's like a Word and you add a box, just bear in mind you need enough space for that box. So if there's loads of wording and you add a box right next to, loads of lines of characters, those lines of characters might change. So when you do use this method, just make sure there's enough space make sure like no formatting will change or there's no text around that box. Otherwise, the way it looks when it sends might look a little bit off. Okay, so just bear that in mind. So when you use the box method and you tick group, you can select the type that you want. So for example, if you want to put a date, that will just, stamp the date that they sign. Signature is obviously a signature. You can add a text box if they need to write initials or they need to type their address out or something like that. And then we have a checkbox as well. So if something is always going to be checked, you can use that as well. So usually it's signature, it's rarely the case. And when you use group, it will ask you who that signature is relating to, okay? And it will work in the same way. It will send to the first person, the second person, and then the third person, depending on obviously what order you put those boxes in your document. So for example, if we add the tenant over here, and then, somewhere else, for example, you might have someone else, okay? So that is usually how the group method works. The individual method is the same, really. However, you won't get someone to particular sign that box. It will just ask you in the next page, which I'll show you here, who that is going to be sent to, and it will basically just give you all the recipients that's relating to the tenancy that you can send to. I don't know why that happened. Let's go back. Yeah, so if we just add a signature and we continue. Yeah, so this is the screen that I was talking about. It will just give you a bunch of recipients and it will just send this document, the same document, to them individually. Okay, so usually this individual method is only good when one person needs to sign that document. If it's a group, use the other method so it can, actually send to the signer to where they need to sign, and it's a little bit more specific. And it works the same. So when you add those boxes in, you can attach files. If you don't want to, you can skip it. You can do the email again, and then you can send that again. Okay. So yeah, those are the two different methods. You have your mail merge method, and then you have the box method. And either of those mail merges are usually when you want other information pulling from Arthur in that document. And then you have the box method when you just literally need to send a signature out quickly and you can get it back hopefully quickly as well. The next thing we're going to discuss is tracking and actually seeing the progress of the digital signature. So for example, if we just get this up. So tracking digital signatures and viewing the final document. So when you send it, well, we've just sent two different ones, for example, it will go directly into your digital signature account, in that section over there. And it will show you different statuses. It will have different colors, and we'll go through what those mean in in the next bit that when I show you. And we also have activity logs. That's a direct feed from Signable. So most of the time, some people might not really understand the statuses, but you can actually just look at the activity log to give you a lot more detail in regards to what's happening with that document. You know, it can show you if someone's opened it, if someone's viewed it, etc., etc. And then also going over the difference between sending reminders, resending the document, and then also cancelling that envelope. We can go through those in a moment. And then seeing how the document looks when it's actually signed and come back. So like I said, if you're using the group method, it will go to signer 1. When they've signed, then it will send to signer 2. And then once all the parties have signed, that document will feed directly into Arthur at the level that you sent that document to. So if it's the tenancies, it will come back in tenancy documents, so you can actually view that document, and it will be a PDF. Signable always changes the Word document to a PDF, or if you've just sent it for signature on a PDF, it will just come back the way you've sent it. Okay, so just bear those in mind. So if we just go back to Arthur. So if we go to our digital signature page here, you've got filters as well. So sometimes, obviously, when you're a big company, you're sending loads of things, different people are sending things. And if you want to find something that's sent and you need to know what's going on with it, you can use the filters on the side as well to help you find that document. But usually it's in date order. So, whatever you've sent most recently will be at the top. So here's a bunch of signatures that we've sent from this account. And you can see the first thing is the statuses. Okay, so the first one is processing. And usually that means it's sent to the first person. However, they've not really clicked on it. You've just sent that. They've not even opened the email or anything like that. Okay, so that basically means when it's processing, they've sent it, but they've not really acknowledged it. Sent is when you've just sent that document from your computer, but something might be going on. So just use the eye icon to see the individual statuses of each individual person. So for example, if that email's bounced, you might need to contact us, or you might need to contact the tenant to ask, oh, your email's bounced. Do you have another email address? Is this correct email? And you can contact us on the live chat to say, this email needs to get changed, and we can actually access that for you at the back end of Signable, and we can change that for you. And that's the same with this one, I think. Let's have a look at this one. Yeah, so when it's sent, it might be in progress, meaning that the person's actually clicked on it as well. Okay, so in progress usually means the first person has clicked on it, it's sent. And processing usually means that no one's clicked on that email. You've literally just sent it, and it's just gone through the inbox of that other person. The next one is failed. You might see that as well. If you click the eye icon, these are basically when you can see the individual's statuses of each individual recipient. Failed, again, means it's bounced back. And sometimes when you just have one person, the whole status will go red. But if it's 1 out of 3, for example, and the first person's bounced, you might not see that. So that's why it's always good to have a look at the eye icon and the individual statuses alone. I wouldn't just rely on these, because it all depends on how many signers you've got. So if it's signed as well, it will go green, and you can see when it's green, it will come back into that section where you've sent that document, which we'll go over in a minute. So you've got your tenancy, you've got your document name, you've got your recipients, and then you've got your status. So if you click the eye icon, you can see each individual statuses, but also if you click the drop down arrow, which is our common functionality in Arthur, if you click view activity log, this is where you can see a lot more information, and this is the feed that is fed directly from Signable. Okay, so for example, envelope was generated, and then it always has a fingerprint. Envelope is generated by Arthur Online. It has been assigned to, these particular people. And then you can see it's emailed, it's actually gone to them. And then you can see if there's an error, it has bounced back, and it will show you what that means. Okay, so let's have a look at the activity log of someone that's fully signed the document. So it will basically show it's, sent to this person, emailed to them, they viewed the envelope, and they've signed the envelope. So it will give you the full picture of what's going on. So I always recommend using the activity log rather than the statuses to really have a look at what's going on with your envelope, and what needs to be signed and what hasn't. And once that's happened, you might realize when you use the eye icon, say, let's say for this one, not this one, let's use 2 people for this one. So say it's sent to this person, Max, and he's, he's not signed that document for a while yet. And you might be getting impatient, or he's signed it and you're waiting on the second person to sign and they're taking long. What you can do is next to the person that it's basically waiting to sign, you've got a little drop down arrow and you can send a reminder. And what that basically does, it resends the email with the attached document to sign via Signable, and it just basically sends them another email reminder, please can you sign this document, and that will be fresh in their inbox. And that is free. You can send as many reminders as you wish, and when you do send a reminder, it should pop up in your activity log as well that reminders got sent, and you can even see if they viewed that email or not. Okay. However, the difference between sending reminders and resending that document, as discussed in the presentation, is when you resend, it resends the whole thing again. Okay, and it will charge you again. So just beware of that button. It will charge you again if you resend that document. And so, for example, say you've got 0 out of 3 and you're waiting for the last person to sign, but you've got the other 2 signatures. If you resend, it will actually just literally resend that document number 1 again to that first person. And that second person, that second document that you've already sent might just get lost. So please just make sure, if you need to remind someone, use the reminder fields. Are reminders sent automatically from Signable every day or other frequency? Mike, so no, it's not. Reminders are manual from your end. They won't remind anyone on an automatic basis. So that's why we've got the eye icon, so you can see, and also the activity log, so you can see if anyone needs reminding. Okay, cool. So when you remind someone, it will resend that document again and it will charge you again. So just be careful of, resend, sorry. If you resend it, it will charge you again. So just be careful of that button over there. The reminder is always in the eye icon next to that individual person, okay? And you can see the reminders, you can send them accordingly. The next thing to discuss is cancelling signable envelope. So if you cancel it, it's cancelled. You're not going to get a refund. You paid for that envelope to send. Like I said, the main thing to check is you've got your email addresses right before you send it out, and you remind people instead of resending. So normally you wouldn't really need to cancel an envelope if any case. But Signable is a feed to Arthur. If you do have any problems, if something's not come back, or if you need to change any email addresses, just pop on to the live chat, tell us the email addresses or the document name, and we can sort out your issue. We're usually quite good with that. We do have Signable backend access, so we can fix anything that we can try to fix, and we can also talk to Signable if there is a bigger issue. Okay, so yeah, cancelling envelopes, it will cancel it. It won't show you directly onto your Arthur, but it will go like this in terms of cancelled. And in terms of the signers, I think they do get an email that the envelope is cancelled. So even if they sign it, it's basically not going to come back into Arthur. It's completely cancelled. So when you know the functionality of that, now it's about viewing documents. So for example, when a document is signed, so it will go green and it will show you the status, that it's signed. It will feed directly back into the section that you've basically sent that document. And it's really easy to find the document. All you have to do is if you click the eye icon over here, it'll give you the details of that record where that signature envelope's gone. And if you click the tenancy reference, it will take you directly onto the tenancy. If you go to documents, it will basically come back. I don't think, oh, here. It will come back and it will be like signed by John, for example. And you'll basically see that this is the signed PDF coming back into your Arthur. And you can also have the eye icon next to it. And this eye icon can show you can download the document if you wish to do so, but you can also preview that file, so you don't actually have to download it onto your computer. You can have a look what it looks like, and you can go all the way down and see that signature. It will have a date stamp, time anyway, with their name in anyway, and anything like that. And then you'll also have kind of that receipt of the activity log that Signable has given back to you in order for you to have a look at. I don't know, if you want to just double check anything, you can have a look at that. Okay. And it's always a PDF, like I said. And if you want to download it, you can send it, share it, anything like that. That's the same as documents as we just went over. If you want to send that to the tenants, you can send them via an email. If you want to share it with them after it's signed in their apps, you can use the share with function, or you can even add a message and attach that if you want to do it that way. So it kind of feeds directly into documents and sending those over. So now, if you have any further questions, we can answer any questions. I hope that was helpful. I know it was quite a lot of information. But yeah, if you have any questions, pop them in the Q&A section of your Zoom, and we can go over anything that you're not too sure about. Yeah, Becky, you can send a further document for signing. The mail merge, if you do it via mail merge, that's how you can do that. The mail merge templates will need to be kind of in place for signing as well. When the document is signed, do all the signers receive a complete PDF, or do we have to send them from Arthur? So you can send the document. You're going to have to send that document to them. So it won't just send it to them like, here's the document signed. You're going to have to, like I said, attach it, send it via email, or share it with them for them to see the final document. Any other questions? No, Paul, unfortunately not. So that is, yeah, it is an add-on service, so you will need to purchase them. We can't give those out. I think there's around 40 people on this call, so yeah, we can't give free credits out to try this out. However, like I said, Signable is a third-party integration, so it just works as, lots of people do use it, so it's pretty easy to work when you do have the credits. Will there be a recording of this session? Yes, there will be a recording. We actually do have some videos, and we have a lot of knowledge base content as well. So if you want to go onto YouTube, just so you can see our YouTube page, we've got a really good video that you can watch when you're actually doing it, because it might be a bit long kind of watching this back. And if you just go to Arthur Online, and you just search digital signatures, you've got a 7-minute video on digital signatures. It can basically give you all the information that we just went through, but it's a bit more bite-sized. And if you hover, if you just take this off, if you just hover over the bottom, let's just wait for the advert to go. It can give you sections. So sending the document and all of that stuff, so you can do it live. Is there any way of allowing a tenant to add a picture image to a document? Okay, so Mike, that is not necessarily to do with signatures, but if they need to allow a tenant to add a picture image, no, so they can't add anything to the document. If you want them to add something to a document, what I would do is message them and say, hey, can you send me those pictures so I can add them to the document? Yeah, there's no way, unfortunately, that they can actually, amend that document. That's all kind of in your hands. Cool. Any questions? Any other questions? And we also have a mail merge video, so please do watch that before. I know we were going over the mail merge signature variables, but obviously if some of you aren't aware of what a mail merge is, go back to our content page and type in mail merge, and you can watch that before you watch the digital signature one. So you can do that live. Okay. Cool. I'll just leave the questions to roll in if anyone else does have some. But otherwise, that would be the end of the webinar, and it will be recorded. We put this webinar on our website in the afternoon, and then also all other previous webinars will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. And then also this webinar will be uploaded to YouTube at hopefully this week. Okay, no questions. Cool, I will leave that there. And if you have anything, great. Yeah, no worries. If you have any other questions, I know it's quite content heavy, just pop us a message, or if you have any issues or anything like that with your account, please just pop us a little chat through your chat, sorry, on Arthur, and we can get back to you and look into the issue if there is anything going on. Okay. Hello, Mandy. No. So when they sign the document, you're the only one that gets received that full document that's signed. They do not get a copy. So the beginning part of the webinar was how to share a document. So you can share the document in 3 ways when you get that PDF back from Signable. You can send it via email, you can share it with them if they have the app, or you can send them a message using the message function and just attach that document so they have a copy. Okay, but yeah, you're going to have to do that bit to send it to the recipients to receive a copy of the signature or the signed fields.